fig. It's the way to go. Eat a fig, not a pig. Let your kindness show. If it's your wig or a jig or a swig, do you dig? Big. It's the way to go. It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
When something's fat, there's a lot to show. It's gotta be fat to help the movement grow. Making fat loud chat that won't be flat. It's fat. And here's our show. It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
I just got that vegan glow, like a drag queen calling Patrick Goudreau. I'm a YouTube beacon cooking up good eating. Veganism makes me glow. It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
All right, vegans, all together now. When something's fat, there's a lot to show. It's gotta be fat to help the movement grow. Making fat loud chat that won't be flat. It's
big
fat.
It's the way to go.
It's Big Fat Vegan Radio.
Hey everyone, welcome to Big Fat Vegan Radio. We're podcasting from San Francisco
and from New York City
to discuss veganism in all of its glory. I'm here with Ben Strothman, otherwise known as Honey LeBronx, everyone's favorite vegan drag queen.
And I'm here with Laura Yaz, vegan writer and entertainment know-it-all.
You can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube by searching for Big Fat Vegan Radio.
And you can follow along with our show notes at bigfatveganradio.com.
Well, we have a very exciting interview for you guys today. I don't know if anybody remembers, but in our first episode, we mentioned this athlete that Ben, and Ben was like describing what he does, and I told him he sounded like he was making it up. Does anyone else remember this? I remember this. Anyway, Bud Burdick, we got him on the show. Bud Burdick on the show.
Basically, he's like the vegan Superman.
He's pretty amazing.
Yeah. He's got a pretty impressive list of credits here we would like to tell you just a little bit about. Bud Burdick is a Capoeira practitioner who lives in the New York metropolitan area. He has had extensive experience teaching Capoeira to people of all ages at universities, academies, gyms, yoga studios, and teen centers. He's worked with the Kista Tucker Dance Company in Rochester, New York, and with Kelly Donovan and dancers in New York City.
A personal trainer by profession, Bud believes that health and fitness is mandatory, regardless of your walk of life. A clean, organic diet fuels his ambitious desire to be as fit as possible so that he can be the best mover he can be.
In Bud's own words, Bud says, "I listen to my body, and a vegan lifestyle works best. I am constantly moving, so I fuel my body appropriately. Since becoming a vegan, I've noticed that I heal faster and am stronger than I have ever been." And without any further ado, we would love to welcome Bud Burdick to the show. I'm just going to quickly go offline on Facebook because I'm trying to win this little Facebook argument right now about with a non-vegan.
Ugh.
Not an argument at all. And actually, I'm kind of changing some hearts and minds here because I just saw this thing today about pork ringworms on the brain. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Laura, it's on Honey LeBronx's Facebook wall about like people getting like pork worms that like go up into your brain and live in your brain for like up to 25 years.
That sounds like a horror movie.
And I posted it on my Facebook wall, and a friend of mine, a non-vegan friend I used to wait tables with, she was like, wait a minute, did you mean that for me? Because she had just posted on her Facebook wall, I need some bacon in my life right now. And I was like, well, no, I didn't post that for you, but blah, 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 blah. And I took that opportunity to go to her Facebook status, and I kind of like Facebook status crashed her a little bit. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, bacon. And I started posting pictures of the most adorable little baby piglets in the world. And then more pictures of piglets, and then, bam, the Earthlings part right where it gets to the pigs. And so we had like a little argument back and forth where basically, of course, she's defending her stance but saying she refuses to watch it. And I'm like, so you're going to take part in something that you refuse to look at. Isn't that sort of a disconnect? And she's trying to say that it's not a disconnect, and I'm telling her that she does have a disconnect and blah, blah, blah. And then she messaged me later to say, okay, so I watched the video. So a little headway was made.
Way to go, buddy.
Yep, you're all welcome. You're all welcome on behalf
You're
of the
very
team.
good at that stuff. I'm very bad at it.
I'm not always very good at it.
I'm just a big eye roller.
Is
she joining the team now?
Oh God, no. I don't imagine her joining. She's one of those. Well, you know what? I shouldn't give up hope. I don't imagine her joining the team. I think she's one of those where progress will be made by her saying, "Well, I can see it from your point of view."
That's nice. Well, you know, my parents, they're going to do Meatless Monday.
No way.
I know, which I'm pretty shocked by, to be totally honest.
Oh, she couldn't watch the Earthlings video because she doesn't have a YouTube login. I will tell her. I will let you borrow.
I'm sorry, bud. We're going to interview you any second now.
my YouTube login
That's okay.
info if you want. Sorry, but I have this awful habit of like having side conversations with people while we have a hot interview on the line.
Yeah, Ben likes to do 4,000 things at once.
No, Ben is capable of doing 4,000 things at once.
Dude, I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying that
I don't know.
it's
Yes,
I think this whole conversation should just be on the show.
Are you recording?
We are recording. We are recording. So I've already got this going.
Yes.
So we could keep it. We could keep this as our little outro, or we could keep this as our like Oprah after the show moment. Oh my God, we should have Oprah on the show one day.
Yo, I hate Oprah.
That's why we should
I'll
have her
call
on
her
the
up.
show.
I've got her number. I'll call her up for you guys.
Oh, could you? Thank
oh my God.
you so much.
What a great connection. We're 1 degree away from Oprah.
I wasn't gonna ask, but that would be really sweet if you could do that. So, yeah. So I think let's hop to it. I'm just gonna bring the script up in front of me. Laura, do you have the script in front of you as well?
I do.
And you're watching me type right now?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. There we go. Awesome. Let me turn my phone on silent, and I think we're all set. So, Bud Burdick, welcome to Big Fat Vegan Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here with us today.
Awesome to have you here. You know, I remember on our very first episode, I was talking about Bud and just how awesome he is and how he's this like amazing vegan athlete and trainer, and how one of these days I really wanted to have you on our show. And,
yeah, it's so nice to get you on the show finally. It's true. You were mentioned in our very first episode.
Yep.
I feel honored.
Yeah.
The day has come for the interview.
Well, we've definitely kept our audience in suspense all this time, so they're probably just like, just get to Bud Burdick already. God.
Yeah, that's the one thing they remember from the first episode.
There's a lot of things to remember from the first episode. It was 2 hours long, but so Bud, I met you, I think, for the first time at probably, I think it was like the Veggie Prom, was it? Or I'm trying to remember if it was the Veggie Prom or the Veggie Pride Parade. They're usually around the same time. But that was the first time I'd ever met Bud, and I would just love to let our audience know a bit more about you. Why don't you start by telling us about your own journey to becoming vegan?
Okay. As far as I recall, we met for the first time in person at Veggie Prom. Mm-hmm. And then we just had a good time chanting and being vegans at the Pride Parade.
Yep.
But my journey into veganism has been about 8 years long now. So after about 2.5 years of being a vegetarian, I decided to become vegan. And that was all largely influenced by the video Meet Your Meats, as created by PETA. Mm-hmm. And after 2.5
that video
years,
had a really big impact on me too.
That kind of pushed me over. I was at a show one night, and there was a table with all these flyers and this trapping video playing and all this terrible, awesome literature. And it was just kind of drew me in, and I decided to look into it more and decided I was done eating animals for the most part.
Yeah. So let me ask, Bud, you say you were vegetarian for 2 years. What was it about that moment that made you realize I can't just get by anymore being a vegetarian but still eating perhaps dairy and eggs?
Well, actually, dairy was the first thing I really wanted to cut out. That's a strong part of the video Meet Your Meat, is showing captions from the dairy industry. So that was done right away. It was the cage free organic eggs that I was fooled by. I kind of thought, oh, well, they're happy hens or whatever the case is. You know, the labels on the containers, and then the media portray it in a good light. And after 2.5 years, I looked into it a little more and decided, well, you know, now's the time to just go all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, you know, a lot of people, and including perhaps some of our listeners, you know, are vegetarian, or especially I hear a lot of people who are like, oh, well, I've been vegetarian for 15 years, blah, blah, blah. And they really feel like that's enough. But, you know, something I say often is that vegetarians who replace their meat consumption with dairy and eggs actually contribute more to animal suffering and by eating more dairy and eggs. And I know for me, when I first went vegetarian, that was you know, very heavy on my mind, that I didn't want to be a part of that anymore.
Yeah, that was definitely an influence for me. Was, like I said, the video and then literature, and I started to meet people, and it just kind of grew from there. And actually, an interesting part of me being vegetarian is I was never big into fish, so it wasn't a big deal to not eat fish, but I loved shrimp. And I was eating shrimp at this buffet one time, and I had recently read something about like 99% of shrimp being bleached at some point in its process.
Yeah.
So I'm eating this shrimp, and I'm thinking, oh, they must be cleaning something. Where are they mopping, or what's going on? And then I realized it was the shrimp that smelled like bleach.
You could actually smell the bleach in the shrimp.
The shrimp on my plate smelled like bleach. So that was apparently bleached later in the process, not necessarily right out of the water. But
watch, I bet the next thing is the USDA is just going to say, oh, well, there's a recommended daily allowance of bleach. You're supposed to get a certain amount.
Oh my God, that's horrifying.
I actually, just real quickly on shrimp, you know, I'm waiting tables at a non-vegan restaurant. And I recently waited on this brother and sister, and they were both like, oh, we're both vegetarians. The guy was vegan. He actually just moved here. Hey, Fernando, welcome to New York. Woo! And I was like, oh, so you're not vegan? Because I was in drag, so I'm being very sassy, and I'm saying to his sister, oh, you're not vegan? You're just a vegetarian. And then she ordered shrimp, and I'm like, shrimp? So you're not a vegetarian? And she's like, well, shrimp have no central nervous system. And I don't know enough about a shrimp's anatomy to comment on that, but what I do know, to those out there who eat shrimp, is that for every pound of shrimp that they capture, you actually have to capture 30 pounds of additional bycatch. That's 30 pounds of other animals they're not looking for, they're not in the business of selling, 30 pounds of additional animals that will just come on board, die, suffocate, get killed, and then they're all dumped back in the ocean dead.
It's terrible.
Yeah. All that ocean light, all that stuff is very convincing to me. That whole, it's also imagining how that must affect our oceans, just how its ecosystem, how it functions and everything. It's really, it's something you don't think about, you know.
Definitely a major disturbance to the whole ecosystem.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it sounds like to me that you pretty much went vegan for ethical reasons. And I'm just curious, in case our listeners don't know, Bud is like an insane athlete. So I'm just curious if you could just tell us about how a vegan diet plays a role in your training and everything. I know that a lot of people who are super athletic tend to be more hesitant to cut meat and animal-based proteins out of their diet.
Okay. I have actually, throughout my time of exercising, which is just, about 10 years now, I'm 28, so after I graduated, after I left home and whatnot, that's when I really got into it. But within that time, I really feel that I felt my best when I really ate vegan and clean. So drinking a lot of fresh cold pressed juices, a lot of smoothies with very nutritious foods in them, such as beets and fruits and vegetables, berries, some kale, and then just consistently having that every day for breakfast, a snack, lunch, whatever, besides normal meals. That's when I feel my best, and that's when I feel like I perform my best in whatever physical activity I'm doing.
Sure. Do you supplement protein in any way, or a lot of people are just like really hung up on that, I think, especially people who work out a lot. Do you do any of that?
I've played around with it over the years. I've tried creatine, I've tried proteins, I've tried branch chain amino acids, and I don't really think they make a big difference.
Really? That's fascinating. Yeah, our friend Erin, she's a fighter. She's an MMA fighter, and she told me she doesn't use any protein supplements at all. She's like, I just eat beans. I don't need that stuff. Yeah.
As long as you eat enough calories, you'll get enough protein. As long as those calories are coming from whole foods and not like processed junk, you should get enough of everything you need.
Nice. That's awesome. So does your daily diet look different than, say, if you're training for an event or, I don't know, like a competition or anything like that?
I don't really get into events or competitions. I just kind of, when I am really, going strong with exercising and whatnot, I just really, like I said, I try to eat clean and sometimes I've counted calories, other times I haven't worried about it, but, I play around. Over the years, I've played around a lot. So I played around with weight gaining, muscle building, and this and that, and it's all related to caloric intake and the level of exercise. So you definitely want to feed yourself for what you're doing. Increase calories for the more work you do.
But could you elaborate just a bit on... for our listeners, what do you mean when you say eating clean?
Well, by eating clean, I mean staying away from processed food, staying away from added oils, staying away from refined foods such as white breads, white rice. So picking the more nutritious options, so be it a whole wheat bread or spelt bread as opposed to just normal plain white bread. Getting natural peanut butter instead of any of the popular brands that you see that have added fats in them, because these things are delicious and nutritious at the same time, and basically experimenting with whole foods is been how I've been successful.
So it sounds like the diet that you try to stick to probably follows a lot more closely with the forks over knives philosophy. They have a cookbook, which is whole foods, plant-based, no refined flours, no breads, no added oils and stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much. That Rip Esselstyn kind of follows that philosophy too. Mm-hmm. I saw him do a talk one time, and he was all about whole foods, plant-based, and was saying that supplements are not necessary, and you just got to get your calories and your nutrition from your food.
Yeah. I have to say, old habits die hard, and I'm still definitely of the mindset, every time I go to the gym, I have a scoop or two of rice protein in my Gatorade, and then I always try to have a little protein shake when I get home with some more rice protein, and it's it would take a lot for me to stop, supplementing at least with protein powder. But that's really convincing what you say about as long as you're eating enough calories. And I have no question that I'm eating enough calories. None. What's so funny?
I believe you're eating enough calories, Ben.
Well, recently, my New Year's resolution... Well, it's not a resolution, but, I got a little sick over the New Year's. It wasn't the flu or a cold, but I just really wasn't feeling well. And I'm convinced that the reason I was not feeling well was because I do two things. I cheat myself on sleep, and I try to make up for it with energy drinks. And, I had 2 years off of energy drinks of any kind until last until last June. And then in July, I just thought maybe I'll have a Red Bull. And bam, I was right back up to 5 or 6 Red Bulls in a day. In fact, when I used to go to the gym, I would have one, I think it's 12 or 16 ounce Monster drink and an 8.4 ounce Red Bull together every time I went to the gym. And
I feel like you're going to have congestive heart failure, Ben.
Well, yeah, funny. I went vegan, and that's what's going to, cause my heart to explode. But I just listened to my body, and I'm like, the only time I ever really catch anything is when I'm hurting my immune system through a lack of sleep and all that extra sugar and energy drinks. So my last 2 or 3 workouts, it was the first time I worked out without using an energy drink or anything. And I'm really shocked I was able to do it. And it didn't affect me all that much. It was, pretty much the same feeling.
Well, your body can become dependent on energy drinks, especially if you're constantly depriving yourself of sleep.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure you're getting enough sleep and enough rest, enough sleep, and good eating. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Energy drinks are just like a false high. And with the amounts you were drinking, it sounds like you were probably running in circles and just off the walls.
I wish, truthfully, they stopped affecting me, which is why I started to, for me, very quickly, energy drinks, I get too used to them. They do nothing for me. Then I have to use more and more and more.
I know, but that's like being addicted, right? Because I just know I have the exact same problem with coffee and energy drinks. When I'm overusing them and I'm totally dependent on them, they don't work.
Yeah. Even since then, I've kind of I haven't stopped coffee or limited my coffee. But rather than reaching for coffee in the morning, I'm like, let's brew some green tea. And it takes a couple of days to get over the nastiness of the flavor. Let's all admit, it's kind of a nasty flavor at first. But I'm kind of used to having my green tea in the morning now. So even before the gym today, I'm like, I'll have a green tea and I'll go to the gym. And I kicked some ass.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think green tea is delicious.
Yeah, I'm not with you on that whole green tea tasting terrible thing.
Yeah, I like it, Ben. I think it's yummy.
I will let you think it's yummy.
All right, whatever.
Well, why don't we just call this the Bud and Laura Show?
So should we start interviewing you?
Oh my God, would you? I would love that.
Yeah, don't don't give him any ideas.
I never really get my chance to say what's on my mind, so.
I know Ben really never gets enough time to talk or shine, really.
So, okay, so speaking of things I can't pronounce.
Yes.
First question for you, Bud. How do you pronounce that thing you do? Capoeira. How do we say this? What is it now?
Capoeira.
Capoeira.
Oh, that's beautiful. You sounded beautiful when you said that. Say it again.
Thank you, capoeira.
When I look at the word, it makes perfect sense that that's how it's pronounced. But
my eyes are sparkling when he says it.
What's that?
Capoeira.
My eyes are sparkling when he says it.
Oh, I thought you said you went snorkeling when he said it, and I'm like, where did you find the time? Capoeira. So, first off, what is capoeira? Just what is it? Because I've watched you do it before, and it's unclear to me from watching it, like what the objective is or what you guys. It looks like one part dance, one part martial arts, and just one part like slow motion Matrix style fighting.
It's badass, is what it is.
It's all of the above.
Yeah.
It's it's an Afro-Brazilian martial art created in Brazil like 300-400 years ago, and it's just become this worldwide thing. It's becoming more common and popular in social media and movies and whatnot. And basically, it's an interaction. It's all the above, like you said. It's dance, it's fighting, it's music, it's art, it's life. What you saw was what is called a roda, which is roughly translates as wheel, and that's just where everything comes together. So we'll take classes, we'll go train with friends, we'll do this and that. But in the roda, that's where everything comes together. That's where we use what we learn to interact with another person. So we develop this vocabulary of movements, and we use them to have a conversation with another person. And just like normal conversations, you can interrupt somebody, you can yell at somebody, you can scream, you can be nice, you can be playful, you can whisper. And that's all depends on your movements, your approach to the game, and how you express yourself.
It sounds like there's a great deal of improvisation involved in this.
It's all improv. The only thing that's really not improv is the setup of it. So there's in the hall there's a circle of people, and at the head of it is what's called the bateria, and that is the band. That's the people playing the instruments and the people leading the music. And the circle consists of people either standing or sitting, and they're clapping or singing along or both. And it just provides this inward facing energy that just, you know, creates this powerful feeling when you're in there and you're playing capoeira.
It's so cool. It's so insanely physical.
Yeah, I have to ask, you know, just from having watched some videos of you doing capoeira, have you ever gotten kicked in the head doing it? Because it looks like, I to watch it, I'm like, if I did this, I feel like I would get, like, I wouldn't remember to duck when someone's kicking at me.
Well, funny thing you should mention that I was kicked in my nose this past Sunday.
Oh my God.
It's just a little scrape. It wasn't like the broken nose I got last January.
How did you get your nose broken last January?
I just wasn't being aware. I just wasn't. I don't know. My mind must have been elsewhere, and someone's heel came up and hit me in the nose, and that was that.
Wow.
He got kicked in the face.
A couple times.
You know, Bud Burdick is like that. He's badass. He'll get kicked in the face for his art.
It's gotta be a hazard of the capoeira trade.
Well, the goal is not to get kicked in the face too often. If it happens once in a while, it's okay. If it happens all the time, you're not getting something. It's just not clicking.
Definitely. I'm going to use some theatrical makeup and show up to day one of capoeira school with some fake bruises on my face. Like, oh yeah, man, I've been around. So, but what drew you to this? What inspired you to get invested in capoeira?
Well, when I started, I was into lifting weights and I was into yoga, and those were pretty much the only two physically active things I was doing. And I just had this drive to find some sort of martial art. And I ended up ordering a couple documentaries off Discovery Channel. I ended up watching a couple movies, and in the movie The Protector, there's this fight scene where Tony Jaa fights this capoeirista. Capoeirista is somebody who does capoeira, and I just thought what he was doing was beautiful, and just the way he moved, the fluidity of it, it just really drew me in, and I was like, that's the one. I'm going to go find that. Yeah. And I did.
Wow, good for you.
Thank you.
Because I think it looks awesome, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen it, I mean, you have to really see it to understand what we're talking about. It's just such
we should put a video in the show notes.
Yeah, but are there videos out there people can see of you doing capoeira, or any videos you'd recommend for someone to watch for the first time?
Yeah, I will definitely get you guys a couple videos. There's plenty on YouTube. You can see all types of styles of capoeira. There's videos of people just doing capoeira movements. There's like teaching lessons of capoeira on YouTube. So I can definitely send you guys a couple links to put up on the website.
Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. All right, cool. I will take a left turn. So, Bud, we know that you were recently diagnosed with leukemia, and I know you're sick right now. So thank you so much for doing this interview with us. It's really generous of you and awesome. So I guess I'm curious how your veganism is playing a role in your battle with cancer, and what your experience with that has been like so far.
Well, I was diagnosed in July with cancer, actually just a month or two after Ben saw me doing capoeira at Union Square. And it came all of a sudden. You know, I just wasn't feeling good for a couple weeks, and I'm pretty stubborn, so I didn't go to the doctor right away, and I just, ended up feeling terrible. And eventually, when it just became unbearable, I went to the doctor and was diagnosed. The the vegan aspect has been interesting because hospital food, first off, is not that desirable. And then when you get to the vegan side of it, when you get to the vegan side of it, it's a lot of brown rice and frozen vegetables, pretty much. So that's interesting. I had a couple.
Yeah, I was actually wondering about that. I used to work at Brooklyn Methodist, and the food was disgusting. I was always like, how is this what we're serving sick people? It's going to make them sick.
Well, lucky for me, I'm at a hospital that actually has options for vegetarians. They have a whole separate vegetarian menu, which often includes fish and cheese and, that kind of stuff, which I'm clearly not into. But they do have certain options. They have a veggie burger that's vegan, or so they tell me. And they have this tofu platter, and they have, the fruits and veggies. They have soy milk. So they have a few things that they offer. It's just sometimes things are a little too dry, or a little too this, or a little too that. And I've been lucky enough to have wonderful friends they've brought me food. On numerous occasions, and ordering out's always an option. But the vegan part really affects, I think, the recovery from my stays in the hospital. So I've been in the hospital. This is my third time now. The first 2 times were each for a month-long stay, and recovery was really quick for me. And I just have this drive where I just want to keep going and just like push past it. So the desire to keep going, a positive mental attitude, and delicious, amazing vegan food definitely helped the recovery. So I was up on my feet and doing capoeira and lifting weights and doing this and that within not even 2 weeks of leaving the hospital each time.
Wow.
And that's a month-long stay of pretty much staying in bed most of the time. So it's been an interesting journey. Definitely not always the easiest thing, but just wanting to get back into the swing of things, just find that normality within life again after this huge break. It's very important to me.
So, Bud, if I can ask, how did recently I was talking about, not feeling well, and I had some symptoms, and I had, a runny nose and this and that and the other. How did you know, when your body was giving you signs that something was wrong? How did you know this is something serious enough to go to the doctor for?
Well, when I got to the point where my lymph nodes in my throat were so swollen that it felt like my throat was dried shut one night, I knew something was really wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was interesting. Symptoms changed over the 2 weeks that I was too stubborn to go get looked at, from body aches to just feeling fatigued to like I said, my throat started hurting, my lymph nodes really swelled up, and it just got to a point where it was too much.
Yeah. Well, can I ask, and I don't know, this is something that I don't know a whole lot about. I don't really have a lot of people in my life who've gone through cancer, so I don't really know what the treatment for that looks like. Can you tell us, part of the treatment for this, a big part of it has been chemotherapy?
Yes.
For someone who doesn't know much about that, what does that look like?
Well, chemotherapy is a drug designed to basically break down cancerous cells. So it largely affects the bone marrow and white blood cells. And with leukemia, what I have unnatural white blood cells growing. My body does not recognize them as cancerous and as an enemy, so it lets it grow, and that leads to the immune system not working properly. So the chemo basically checks things, puts it back into place by tearing it down. So each of the 2 times I've already been in, and including this time, I'll go through 6 or 7 days of chemotherapy, over the time of which my bone marrow, my white blood cells are being, just decreased in quantity. And from there, I'm in the hospital for 3 weeks or so following that, just recovering.
Have you had any any surprised or noteworthy reactions from your doctors and the hospital staff about the fact that you're vegan?
They all know. They're actually pretty cool about it. Nobody really acts surprised or anything. They know I exercise and whatnot, so they're always asking, well, if I got back into exercise after leaving, if I'm, eating well, and a lot of it's really actually untouched, which is kind of interesting. I would think that when somebody leaves the hospital after, getting all these chemicals inside of them, that they would be more concerned about somebody leaving and eating well and just trying to get back on their feet. But it's more of, okay, you've done this, you're done. Okay, we'll see you in a week for your next blood test.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really disheartening to hear that in a place that's supposed to be all about health and overall wellness, that I haven't really ever spent a significant amount of time in a hospital for any reason. And I'm always shocked when I hear about the food. Like, I'm convinced...
Oh, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I'm convinced it's got to be a joke.
No, it's disgusting. I can't believe... Like, the food is so gross. I'm sorry. That's what I did. I fed people who couldn't feed themselves and when I worked at the hospital. And, it was like... Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, hospital food is the worst. Sorry, bud.
No, that's okay. I'm kind of happy that they at least have a vegetarian menu with vegan options on it.
I'm really glad to hear that too, actually. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a huge step in the right direction.
Now, I just have to ask,
Definitely.
because I'm curious, whenever I see tofu on a menu, and it's usually being cooked by someone who does not eat it, have you had their tofu? What is hospital tofu like?
Well, actually, this platter, it's probably the best thing that this hospital offers out of everything they have, vegan or otherwise. It's this big plate with a bed of greens and like this salad mixture, and then on top of that, in the middle, there's some grilled veggies, eggplant, and who knows what else, and then there's just little chunks of white tofu spread out all over it, and then you get some sort of dressing with it, and the tofu, I'm pretty sure, is not cooked. But it's the fact that it's
just like raw tofu. That's good though.
Yeah, it's just like little squares of tofu. But the fact that it's largely green and largely natural, I think that's a huge deal.
So it sounds like another huge deal in your recovery has just been the friends coming to see you and bring you food and just keep you company. Can you tell us a bit about what that's been like?
That's probably the best part, and even when I look back on the past 2 times I was in, like, I don't remember being in pain. I don't remember chemicals. I don't remember feeling tired or this or that. I usually remember the times when people were here and we're laughing and we're talking and they're keeping me company. That's really the best part of it all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at my blog, but my recent post was about the year 2012 for me. And I was saying that 2012 was an awesome year. Sure, I had a broken nose, I had a hernia, I got cancer. Those things happen. But it was, looking back on it all, it's all perception. Like, I just think about the good times. Like I said, the people visiting, games we played. I had a friend who was reading a book to me, which was amazing because, when you're feeling terrible and you don't really feel like talking, but you want somebody's company and they read to you, it's a heartwarming thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could come visit you. I have to fly to New York.
Anytime you want.
Yeah. Where are you staying, bud?
I'm at Roosevelt Hospital.
And what can you... Okay, I'm just such a foodie. I'm curious to know. You know some awesome vegan people. What if people brought you to eat?
I've had delicious food from Blossom, Terry, some homemade stuff, delicious beet salad a friend brought me the other day. So pretty much anything at Blossom or Terry is delicious.
Yeah. Oh, agreed.
Wraps and sandwiches and
I love the soups from Terry too. The soups are so good.
I haven't had any soups.
I've never had their soups before.
Oh my God, you have to get the broccoli cheddar one. It's like, I used to elbow people over for that soup. Oh, I miss New York, you guys.
Next time I'm there, I'm getting that.
Then you could bring some to me.
Oh, heck yeah. Wait, Roosevelt Hospital, that's not on Roosevelt Island, is it?
No, it's St. Luke's Roosevelt, and there's actually a few locations. The one I'm at is just referred to as Roosevelt. I guess the other one's referred to as St. Luke's, but no, we're over on 10th Avenue.
Mm-hmm. So, Bud, is there anything else that you would like to promote or anything that you're looking forward to participating in?
Well, I'm looking forward to participating in normal life and finding routine when this is all done.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
It's been an interesting journey. You know, it really throws a wrench in the mix of life when you have to spend a month in the hospital every couple months.
Yeah.
Like this stay that I'm in here now was kind of all of a sudden. I mean, I guess it's to be expected, but Monday night I get a call saying I need to come in Tuesday morning. So I had plans for the week, I had plans for the weekend, plans for next week. I was supposed to go to Philadelphia, do this and that, and then all of a sudden it's like, you're going to be in the hospital for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been interesting, but you know, I'm just looking forward to getting this all done with. The next step, which hopefully will happen in late February, will be a stem cell transplant.
Yeah.
I was informed that they found a perfect donor. So I just have to get through this time, which will put the cancer back into remission, and then I'll be out for a couple weeks, and then hopefully go in for the stem cell transplant and go back to normal life, I guess.
That's great news.
March.
That's very exciting.
So a stem cell donor, I can't say that I've heard of this before. What does somebody donate to offer stem cells?
Well, the old way of doing it would be a bone marrow transplant. And from what I've read, it seems that bone marrow transplants are still common for children. But for adults, they do stem cell transplants. It's a lot less invasive for both parties. And basically, as opposed to going into somebody's bone and sucking out bone marrow, which is not that pleasant, by the way. I've had it done six times now.
Oh.
So,
Oh, yeah, I've heard that's incredibly painful, yeah.
and it feels so weird. It feels so weird.
I can imagine.
So stem cells are less invasive. So basically, I would go into the hospital, and for 6 or 7 days, I would get chemotherapy, but it would be very intense to the point where they're looking to completely wipe out my bone marrow, because basically my bone marrow is defective. It's not doing its job right now. And the donor, what they do is they'll take a drug for that same amount of time, which will, I guess it releases stem cells or a certain type of cell into the blood, which then they will filter out through a dialysis type machine. So basically, they'll have one line coming out of one arm. The blood will flow through a machine and go back in the other arm, and they just take out the little bits and pieces they need, make some concoction, and then they put it in me. And then the cells go to work recreating bone marrow and basically recreating my immune system.
Wow.
Right.
That's just brilliant how efficient that is.
Well, I'm so excited that you have a matched donor. That's great news.
Yeah.
I agree.
I wonder for anyone listening if we can get information out there just to post with this episode of how someone might go about choosing to become a stem cell donor. Do you have any information on that, Bud?
Well, basically you just go to bethematch.org.
Yeah.
And you just sign up to be a donor. They send you a kit in the mail. You do a couple cheek swabs with a Q-tip, drop it back in the mail, and then you're in the registry. And the registry is continuously growing. I know a bunch of my friends have joined it since I've become in need. And actually, years ago, I joined the registry, not knowing I would be in this position, but clearly they're not going to want my stem cells or bone marrow now. But at one point, I thought they might.
So, Bud, where can people find you? They've got your blog, and
Yeah, my blog is budburdick.com, and the last more recent post kind of track my journey in the hospital and just keeping a positive attitude throughout it all. And that's
really are. You really are, bud. You're really inspiration. You're an inspiration, truly.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for those our listeners don't realize this, but Bud is like currently talking to us from his hospital bed. He messaged me just yesterday, or I think it was Tuesday. He's like, "Oh, so I had to go back into the hospital this morning, but I'm still good to do the interview on Thursday. I'll have my laptop and I'll be in my hospital bed, and we're just going to continue as planned." So
amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's just keeping your cool throughout it all. And I'm convinced that some hardships are worse than others. But any hardship that comes your way, you just gotta not see it as a hardship. You gotta look on the bright side and take what you can that's positive out of it. And like I said, the friendships that have grown and the relationships that have endured throughout this, really, really show me, that people care, and I have this support system, and it really just helps, provide me with the desire to just, stay positive and really try to inspire others.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job of that, Bud.
Thank you.
No kidding.
I guess this whole thing kind of just shows that you never know what's going to come your way. So even though I was exercising like a madman and eating all this delicious food, I ended up sick. So, I mean, it could be environmental. Who knows what it's from? The doctors don't know. They have no idea where leukemia comes from. It's not like It's not like prostate cancer or lung cancer or other types of cancer that they could say, well, that's related to diet, that's related to smoking, that's this and that. It's like leukemia is one of the ones that they don't know. So, I mean, I tend to guess that it's environmental. Maybe some job I had, or not eating as great when I was a kid. You just never know what's going to come your way, but you gotta take it all in stride.
Yeah. There's a silly part of me that always wanted to think, like, oh, well, I'm vegan now, so vegans don't get cancer. I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to get that. And
that always annoys me when people have that attitude. Like nothing, babies are born with tumors. Nothing, there's no guarantee of anyone's ever going to be proof of anything,
Mm-hmm.
But I think what we definitely can say for certain, though, is just that, the way that Bud lives his life, just so healthful and active, has played a huge part in his recovery.
Absolutely, yeah.
And your attitude, obviously, you have such a great attitude, and you're obviously such a compassion-filled, lovely person. And vegans are just the best, aren't they?
Yeah, you guys are awesome too.
Oh,
thanks. But thank you again so much. Such a delight, really, to have you. And we just wish you the best. I am sending you all of my love, and I'm sure all of our listeners are too. And I just hope that you get better so fast. And thanks so much.
It was my pleasure, and you're welcome. And thank you as well for this opportunity.
Thanks much, Bud. All right, so we will end there and transition into our outro. And Bud, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. It was nice to meet you, Laura.
Nice to meet you. Hopefully I can meet you in person someday.
Yeah, Bud, if you're planning on coming to the
I was actually going to do a talk at the and I will be here.
Okay.
It looks like. At least I'll be at Mount Sinai for the stem cell transplant at that point.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Laura is coming into town for that, so we're definitely both gonna be there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do a.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know. I guess it's official at this point, is it?
I think we're booked. I think it's official.
Yeah, we just it's not quite gonna be our year anniversary, but we just thought whenever we get to the end of a year with the podcast, we want to do a with an audience, and so we got ourselves booked as speakers.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call it totally booked until I book my plane ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah, I'm looking real. I think it's going to be super fun.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I was asked about doing a talk there myself, and so I was going to use this interview as kind of like an outline to kind of build that up. But yeah. hopefully I'll be knee deep in stem cells at that point, and getting that all taken care of. And there's always next year.
Nice.
Do you know who the donor is, or does it work that way?
I do not know. I guess there's like a box I can check in some sort of permission form that I can meet that person, but they have to check the same box.
Yeah.
So
well, whoever it is, if they could just see their stem cells running an obstacle course in your body, I'm sure they'd be like, "Yep, I stand by my decision."
Yeah, that'd be great. I would
wasn't
definitely
using him
love
anyway,
to.
but look at him go.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no kidding.
I would love to meet the person.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, bud, but you're welcome. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, but you know what? This is if it's as easy as you described. I mean, like I don't know. I could certainly spare some of mine and get on that registry. I would love to post that in the show notes and look into that, because it doesn't. My mom once went to be a bone marrow donor, and then they had to turn her away because something came up, or she once took something or once had something. Mm-hmm. And so she couldn't do it. But I just remember thinking, wow, that's so brave that she wanted to do that, and it made me want to do it. So I'm definitely going to have a look at this bethematch.com, and yeah, if it's something doable, I'm totally going to do it, and I will be tweeting about it as I go.
That sounds great.
Yep.
They need more people on the registry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually really glad that you mentioned that. That's such a cool program.
Yeah. Well, you're very lucky to have found a perfect match, and I guess not everyone is so lucky, and so if there's something that we can do to help increase those odds for other people out there, then I'm all about it.
Well, from what I was told is basically Caucasian people have the best luck, because there's a lot of Caucasians on the registry, and there's even registries in across seas. So like Europe has a registry, and probably multiple registries, so they can always look into them. But I guess from what I was told, like the Hispanic and the African American populations have a harder time finding matches because there's not as many. Mm-hmm. And the thing about stem cells is it doesn't matter blood type. It doesn't matter necessarily who your family is, but it comes down to nationality. That's more of what's going to dictate who can be a match for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to get the word out about that. I mean, why not?
The more the merrier.
Yeah. Bud, feel free to drop us a line if you can give us an update on how things are going. We'd love to post those updates as well, in addition to this episode.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, and we'll have our people keep an eye on your blog as well. We'll let them know that they can you just keep an eye on your progress there.
Okay. That means I'll have to update it myself.
Yeah. Well, our people can do that for you. I'm sure we got someone on. How big is the staff, Laura, at Big Fat Vegan Radio?
25.
Yeah.
30.
It's me. I'm the staff.
Oh right, Laura's the staff.
Me and the twins that I nanny. We are the staff.
Beautiful.
But they don't do much, those girls.
Yeah.
I've actually been updating a lot on Facebook, posting pictures from different procedures I've had, and like me doing yoga practice in my hospital room.
Awesome.
I'm talking about how I'm doing pull-ups on my shower curtain rod.
Oh my god. I just picture my shower curtain rod, which is like not really held up by much other than hope.
No, this one's screwed into the wall, and it must be some pretty hefty screws.
Yep.
And this is the third room I've been in that I've been able to do pull-ups in. So.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, you are a wild man.
He's a machine. But just tell us really quickly. I was reading. You did how many thousand push-ups in 24 days?
10,000 push-ups.
In how long?
It was 24 days. It was December of 2011.
Why?
Why not?
Because he's incredible. Because he's incredible.
You know, I did the math, bud. That's like 417 point something push-ups in a day.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a good time. Did you hear that? Yeah, it was a good time. What made you want to do that? Was this like a challenge online, or was this like the cinnamon challenge?
Well, my friend Lauren Villani directed me towards a website called 10,000 Bananas or something like that. And no, it was I don't remember the name of the website now offhand. But anyway, they mentioned something about doing 10,000 push-ups, and it really wasn't, within a set amount of time. It was just people were trying to do 10,000 push-ups. And I'm like, well, what can I do? Let's how many push-ups do you have to do in a day if you did it for a whole month? And it was 330 something. And then I just ended up pushing the envelope, and there was one day I did 1,000 in one day, and that was fun.
Oh my gosh.
And that helped me finish in 24 days as opposed to, the 30 days of December.
Yeah.
Because I didn't start the first day, so I was kind of limited there as well. But yeah, it was just a desire to do it. And like this month, this is handstand Jan. So 5 minutes of handstands a day every day in January. Obviously, I don't know how I'll be feeling in a couple of days with all the chemo, but I guess I might try to catch up at some point if I fall behind.
Well, I'll have you know that I did 30 push-ups today. So
I did 0.
You did 0? Well, your 0 plus my 30.
But I did pick up both twins who are 30 pounds each, like 50 times.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And she did
I pushed them both up a hill in a stroller. Thank you so much, bud. Really, it's so nice of you to do this. I know you don't feel good.
I feel amazing, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't started not feeling good yet.
Oh, good.
Last time it wasn't until the last 2 days of chemo that I really started to just feel tired, but...
I can only imagine for an average human being out there what the experience would be like.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. Not for nothing, but there's a drag queen that I work at a drag restaurant in Times Square. So we're all drag queen servers, and there's a server, she's definitely up there in years, I'd guess, 40s, late 40s, and she's got cancer, and she's technically got a hole in her butt next to the other one, and I forget what it is, but some kind of cancer. She's in a lot of pain, but she seems to be beating the cancer, and then she'll come to work, and she'll have a big old bag of McDonald's, and I want to be like, girl, like... What do you think that's doing for you? Like, is it all the doctors fighting it? Like, you think you're just paying the doctors to make you well? Like,
that's terrible.
Yeah. And I've thought of saying something, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's not my place to say anything, but
yeah. What do you
Did she tell you she has cancer?
Oh yeah, I mean we've definitely talked openly about it. Everyone knows it. It's not something she hides at all. When we have to work cooperatively and there's a huge table to take care of, she's the first person to remind you, oh yeah, baby, I got cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Playing the cancer card.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just start cooking her some delicious kale salad or something next time I go in to see her.
She sounds like she doesn't deserve it.
What, my kale?
She sounds like she doesn't deserve your delicious kale salad.
She's such a sweet thing. I adore her. I would if I don't know.
Well, then you should say something. If she was open enough to tell you about her situation, it's you have the right to tell her what you think. Then.
Yeah. I think I
Yeah,
might.
that's true.
I think I might. And you know what? I won't say it empty-handed. I think maybe I'll have that conversation with her with the kale.
Salad
Yeah.
in hand.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, she has an Egg McMuffin in her hand.
I think I'll start by slapping it out of her hand. I'm like, now that I've got your attention, bitch. Now that I got your attention, let's talk. Sit down. Oh, you can't. I'm sorry. Well, Bud, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so great to talk to you about all of this. We wanted to have you on forever just to talk about your insane athletic ability, and it's really an honor to get to talk to you about everything you're going through now, and it's so amazing that you're willing to share it with all of us, so thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to share, and I really appreciate this.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, and we'll be in touch.
All right, good night.
Good
Thanks, Bud.
night.
Bye.
Goodbye, Laura.
All right. And I've just let go of Bud. There he is.
Ben,
Yeah.
so I don't want to be a total downer, but I was looking at bethematch.com, and they won't let gay men donate.
That thought went through my head. Does it say right on their website?
It says men who have sex with men.
Wow. Yeah, they probably mean me by that.
Yeah, I'm assuming they mean you.
Where's the, where does it say that?
It's his link. It's like medical exceptions or something. And then I was just scrolling down, looking at the other stuff. Also, tattoos is on there. I was looking at that too. And then
there it is.
Said men who have sex with men. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I was
Men
like,
who
oh,
have had
it's
sex
both.
with men within the past 5 years are currently not eligible to register as a potential volunteer donor. This is because men who have sex with men are, as a group, at increased risk for HIV.
How is that possible? Aren't women who have sex with men at the same risk?
Well, first off, I think it's like heterosexual men or something like that is like the highest rising group. Like, this is
I heard
such...
I heard it was heterosexual women, but in their 20s and 30s is the most intense group of HIV.
You know, this is one of those things that I would love. Queer Rising is sort of trying to get back together. And this is one of those things that I absolutely want to fight to get this overturned. I understand if back in the 80s when they're like, wait a minute, what's this weird gay cancer thing going around? Okay, hang on. Just for the time being, we can't accept blood from gay men because we don't know what we're up against. Now we know what we're up against. And
yeah, well, I don't know. I remember an ad campaign. Gosh, it must have been when I was in my 20s, I feel like. I remember an ad campaign that was of women, heterosexual women in their 20s, their photos saying, I am the face of HIV. I am the most common person to contract HIV.
yeah.
Because I remember that being drilled into my head because it was like, don't think you can't get it because you're not a gay guy. You are a straight woman, and that's who gets HIV. I don't even know how they know, but they say, a lot of times gay men aren't allowed to donate blood.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's just the discretion of whoever's holding the needle. They're like, I'm sorry, you're a little too fey.
Oh no, they ask you. It's on the question. Like on the question, it will say, "Have you had sex with a man in the last 5 years?" Or have you had sex with someone who has 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 had
Ben,
sex
can I
with...
tell you a secret about our interview with Bud Burdick?
Yes.
I cried.
Did you really?
I really did. I hope you couldn't hear it.
No, I definitely couldn't hear it.
Yeah, I was just really touched. I think I'm in love with him.
I just listening to it, I imagine myself being in his shoes, and I'm like, would I be able to do as well as he's doing? I mean, do I have that much? I'm a kind of bitter, spiteful, hateful person. I have a very cheery voice, so it doesn't sound like it, but yeah,
you sure do have a cheery voice.
I do, but I love to hate and I just keep thinking like I would be. Oh, I don't know how I'd get through that. You know, stupid tangent here, but like I'm going through some stuff at my new job, like with having two managers. I have two managers who both think they're in charge and they don't work with each other at all. And the only way they talk to their employees is by yelling at them. Everything they say, get over here. What's wrong with you? What do you call this? And listening to him saying, yeah, you know, the thing is to not look at anything in life as a problem, but to look at it as a challenge and to learn what can you take away from this that's positive. I was just like, you know what? He's absolutely right.
I can't believe you just compared leukemia to a crappy manager at a restaurant.
Oh, I am not comparing. I am not even attempting to compare them. But, you know, like, while going into work the other day, like, right when I turned the corner onto 52nd Street, my stomach just turns. And I'm like, oh, I just don't feel like being yelled at again for another 8 hours.
Yeah.
But I kind of was coming to the same conclusion where I was like, you know what? I trust that the universe has put me in this position for a reason, and I'm here to learn something, and I'm here to see, you know, that I can put up with this, and I can tolerate this, and I can come out stronger on the other side. So it does not compare to going through chemotherapy, of course. But when I listen to someone who's in such...
No, I get what you're saying. You're talking about attitude. And that's what is so inspiring from Bud.
Yeah.
He has an incredible attitude.
And to hear him going through such a serious condition and having that he can have such a wonderful attitude about that.
Yeah.
I want to take that attitude into my life.
I want to hug him.
Well, you know what? I am going to arrange that for you.
Okay, great.
I'm going to arrange that for you and 3 lucky listeners. Of course, our fundraising drive is still going on indefinitely.
You get a hug from Bud Burdick.
Whoever our top 3 donors are, of course, the top 2 will either get Drina Burton or Chloe Coscarelli's cookbook. But those 2 plus a third will also get a hug. I just burped a little, but I don't think you can hear it, so I shouldn't have even said it. But those 3 top donors, I will pimp Bud Burdick out for a hug. Even if you have to go to his hospital room to be like, yeah, I paid some money and you're supposed to hug me now.
I'm here for my hug.
I'm here for my hug. So we will make that happen. Bud, my apologies.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with this, but I would like a hug.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Well, Ben, do you have any shout outs you want to do?
Oh, yeah. Well, as always,
anything you want to plug?
As always, you know, people can check out my vegan drag queen cooking show at vegandragqueen.com. They can also check out my medieval oil at medievaloil.com. I'm always talking about it, but I'm never telling people what they can do with it. So here is Ben's tip number 38 for what to do with your medieval oil. I have the world's sweetest smelling armpits. I use that Thai liquid crystal deodorant spray, and I add 30 drops of medieval oil to the spray, and I smell better at the end of the day than I do when I wake up and first spray it on my arm, underneath my arms.
I feel like that might even work without the crystal spray if you just did a medieval oil spray.
I wouldn't put it directly on my underarms because it can be a little hard on sensitive skin.
Well, maybe watered down, I mean.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I definitely think it would work as its own deodorant. I do add a little bit of lime, and if you want a recipe, here's your recipe. Let me reach over my head for the bottle itself. That's not the bottle. Is this the bottle? Here's the bottle. In an 8 ounce.
has a small room, everyone.
Everything is within reach. You know, I while I was talking to my roommate earlier, I'm like, could you do me a favor? I had a Domino's thin crust pizza in my lap. And I was like, could you do me a favor? I'd never had nutritional yeast on my pizza, but I'm like, I want to try it. So I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed. Could you bring me my nutritional yeast? Because I'm eating a pizza in bed and I'm asking him to bring me nutritional yeast, and I find nothing wrong with that. And then
there's nothing wrong with that.
When we were done, I like handed it back to him, and he's like looking over my head at like the shelves above me, and to just screw with me, he was going to put the nutritional yeast on the shelf over my bed. And I'm like, oh my God, that's actually a brilliant idea.
I should keep my nutritional yeast there.
I should keep my nutritional yeast over my head as I sleep so that at any moment... Because what I love is I can just reach over my head and bam, I got deodorant. I can reach over my head and bam, I got nutritional yeast. So bam. But if people want a recipe, I would say this. Here's my recipe. An 8-ounce bottle of the Thai Crystal Deodorant Mist. It's a spray. It's basically just water and some kind of salt. And to that bottle, add 30 drops of medieval oil. Then add 10 to 12 drops of lime oil and 10 to 12 drops of patchouli oil. Those are both natural deodorants. And then I just add like 10 more drops of my own scent, like sandalwood oil. And I shake them up. They have a delicious, delicious smell.
Tea tree oil is great for pitters.
Yeah, tea tree oil could also be great. Yeah, so that's one of my favorite uses for my medieval oil. And I can feel awesome knowing that I'm not like putting dangerous chemicals on my underarms where they're going to go right into my lymph nodes. But I do feel so confident. I know this sounds awful, but whatever. I've said worse things. I went up to a friend of mine the other day at Kitten and Frosty's show, and he's like, "What is that smell? You smell really good." And I lifted up my arm and I just pulled his face into my armpit, and I'm like, "Smell it! Smell me!" Now, I know that's not something most people want to hear, but
I'm so glad you didn't do that to me.
Are you, listener? Oh, wait till the next time I see you. It's gonna happen I'm gonna automatically do it on stage to you.
Oh
yeah. I don't think we can talk about that yet.
Not yet. Next time. We'll talk about it next time.
You know what? They don't know what we're talking about because I just beeped it.
Okay.
I just beeped it. I didn't beep it. I'm gonna baa it. That's gonna be a sheep sound. But yeah, at our very first annual
Intel leak
on Saturday. They can't hear any of this. They're so
Intel
like,
leak!
Stop doing.
This is a huge breach.
They're not hearing. They're not hearing any of it. You're hearing it because you understand barnyard animals speak. All they're hearing right now is farm animals. Isn't this brilliant? I'm loving it. So yes, you will hear Laura and I do our first annual, and I promise you, at that moment with our, I will force Laura to smell my armpits. But let me ask you,
I hate that.
Are you out there, listener? Are you so confident that you would push someone else's face into your armpit at the end of a very, very long day? I had 8 photo clients in my studio that day. Very early morning, very long, hard-working day. And about 16 hours after I applied the underarm stuff, I forced someone to smell my armpits. And he's like, "You smell delicious." And I'm like, "I know."
Medieval oil's pretty great, everybody.
MedievalOil.com. I still haven't sent you any, have I?
No, you're supposed to.
I'm supposed to. I have another. I sold out. I have another shipment coming tomorrow, actually.
Good.
So, Laura, do you have any shout-outs?
Well, everyone can check out my new movie review project I'm doing on YouTube. Woohoo! 3 minutes about a movie. I should have a new episode up soon. The first one is about Les Mis. Everybody I went to high school with seems to really like it.
Yay.
Also, my parents seem to like it.
And your co-host seems to love it because it is one of the funniest things I've ever sing. And you know me, Laura. I don't think you're funny. I don't think you're funny. So I think it was hilarious.
Thanks.
No, it was very, very clever, very well done, and very beautifully edited. It was really funny.
Well, that's nice to hear from someone who I knew liked the movie.
Yeah, I did like the movie, but I still find it.
I'm not nice to the movie in that review.
Yeah, I loved the movie. I still think there's plenty that can be said about it.
Yeah, you can still make fun of anything.
Oh, God,
even great things.
Yeah. You know what? I even make fun of myself sometimes.
True. I totally dying to tell you this, Ben. Gia, my goddaughter, she's 18 months, right? And she has these jammies that have a sheep right here. Mm-hmm. Like on her, just has a sheep on them. And she does this sometimes. She'll like be having her breakfast and she'll go, "Bah." It's so cute.
What was so cute was watching you do that. The look in your eyes.
I wish you could see her. It's so cute. She's like, I know what this animal says. It's so
cute. Adorable. And since they're both vegetarian, right?
They are, yeah.
So thank God they're never going to grow up to be like, I know what this animal tastes like.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
They're the future. I always say they're the future of veganism.
Yup. 2 vegetarian babies.
Yeah.
So as
they're going to be vegan someday.
Oh my God. I don't want to say anything, but I know you're on it. I
think they probably will be. They already don't drink milk. They drink almond milk.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
Yay.
They don't drink any cow's milk. I mean, they'll eat stuff that has dairy in it. Like, they'll have macaroni and cheese and stuff. But, it'll only last so long until they can start asking. I mean, look, it's almost like inevitable. Because they're going to be like, why doesn't Nanny eat blank? Then they're going to be... And it'll be over. It'll be over.
You remember that mac and cheese that Daniel made?
Sure. I know what mac and cheese you're talking about. Yeah, I ate a bunch of it.
Do you have the recipe for it?
I don't have the recipe for it.
Oh, I'll send you the recipe for it. You should have that.
Okay, well, I gotta be honest. I'm pretty partial to Chloe's mac and cheese.
As long as you have a mac and cheese recipe.
Yeah, I sort of live and breathe by Chloe's.
All right, well then I guess
really
I won't send you the recipe.
Everyone, you can check it out. It's free at chefchloe.com.
I won't send you the recipe if you don't need it, but... Oh well.
I like that other one too. I just love Chloe's.
Well, I'll have to try Chloe's.
It.
I will have to try Chloe's.
Yeah, you should try it. It's on our website.
Chloe's mac and cheese or Shaka Khan. You have to choose.
You have to
choose. You have to choose.
Shaka Khan will stop existing, or
no? All of her music will be wiped from your brain. Or you will remember what Chloe's mac and cheese tasted like, but you will never again be able to have it or make it.
I think I'm going to shock you with my answer here. Chloe's mac and cheese.
Really?
Yeah. Take that, Shaka Khan.
Wow. You know what? Now that Shaka Khan's a vegan, she's like, you know what, girl? I feel you.
She feels
I feel for you.
Me.
I don't even know the song.
Mac and cheese.
We promise you, listeners, don't worry. There will be a video soon of Laura doing that. You know what, Laura? Since I'm still editing that video, you might want to help me out by sending me 1 or 2 more of you on different days so I can go back and forth between different outfits.
You want me to just keep dancing to...
Before you shut her down tonight, just send me another quick little I feel for you. There's another 30 seconds.
I don't know if I can recapture how into it I was that day.
You were into it.
I was so feeling it. I was
Find
feeling
some
it
glow
so
sticks.
hard.
Find some glow sticks, and I think you can get back into it. As always, a shout out and a huge thank you to our good friend, the Michael Heron. His legal first name now is and Michael is a mere middle name. The Michael Heron. For our wonderful theme song, you can find his work at michaelheron.com. But fun fact, just totally revamped his website, and he's now keeping a video blog of his musical endeavors. So you definitely want to check that out. He's really funny and adorable. And a big thank you to Kelly Huffine for our cartoon and logo. You can find her at kelly42fox.deviantart.com.
That's all we've got today for Big Fat Vegan Radio. Please subscribe to us through iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. It's extra helpful if you can give us a rating and review, hopefully a positive one.
Yeah, and speaking of podcatcher, listener Sarah Andrews brought to my attention that apparently our podcast cannot be found on Stitcher, so I'm looking into the problem.
Update. I have looked into the problem, and it is fixed. We are now on Stitcher. Thank you, Sarah Andrews.
If there's any other podcatchers out there that you prefer to use, if you can't find us on that podcatcher, go ahead and drop us a line and let us know. That would be awesome. And lastly, be sure to let us know what you thought of this episode on our Facebook page. Send us a tweet, leave us a voicemail, or leave us a comment at bigfatveganradio.com. We love to hear from you. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. So thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Ben.
And we hope everyone out there has a great day. And we forgot something.
Oh, of course.
We forgot something. I gotta back up. Guys, I know that we ask a lot of you here at Big Fat Vegan Radio, but if you could just do one last little thing for us. Go vegan! Speaking of glow sticks and illegal raves, I saw this Facebook photo today. Some vegan, she was at the grocery store and in the produce aisle, and she had accidentally, I don't know if she knocked it over or dropped it or had it in her hand or what, but there was a beet on the floor. And she's like, oh yeah, I dropped the beet. I forget how she said it, but it was so funny.
I can't. I'm gonna lose it. That's so funny.
I know. Speaking of beet, Laura's now beet red. I should make a music video as Honey LeBronx and me at the supermarket just throwing beets down.
I want to carry a beet around at all times so I can tell
just so you can drop it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to microwave a beet and hand that beet to you. So you can drop
what does that say
beet.
About me that just slayed me?
It's been an emotional episode for you.
I can't. Oh my god. I can't.
Oh my god. Oh my god, she's crying. She's crying. Oh. Ladies and gents, she is purple.
Oh my gosh.
She's purple. She's purple. She is purple. Speaking of the color purple.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh my god, I can't stop laughing.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Oh my god.
Okay. There we go. Almost finished with the episode. Just a little ways yet.
Don't say anything funny.
Well, now I'm on a quest to find it. I gotta find that picture. I gotta find that picture.
All right, you do the shout outs to our friends because I can't. I am like literally having to think about sad things to calm down right now.
Oh my god.